Welcome back to GoldSeek TV. I'm here in Zurich with the CEO and Director of Relevant Gold, Rob Bergmann. Thank you for joining me here today.
Thanks for having me, Peter.
What a big change in the gold price in the last year. Gold is up nearly $1,000 an ounce higher. The stocks they're not really reacting yet. If you could let us know, what are you seeing from investors at the shows? Are you starting to see some more interest in the sector?
Yeah, certainly sentiment is starting to increase. At every show I've been to, we're seeing an increase in overall investor sentiment in the space. There still seems to be some hesitation on the junior mining equities, right? And I think the ones that are showing material advances in their projects seem to be getting the most attention in the market right now. We've been feeling that specifically at Relevant Gold. But I think that the sentiment is definitely in a positive direction, but it's not moving as quickly as everybody maybe would anticipate with the price of gold. So I think it's just a matter of time. And again, another great opportunity to get positioned into some of the equities.
Well, we're in a sector where a lot of majors have not been replacing their ounces. So there's a big need for exploration. And you are exploring not just like a typical exploration company, which has one project. You're looking for a big discovery. And you have a very interesting theory, basically, that you're applying to the state of Wyoming, or not the whole state, but in Wyoming.
Most of it, yeah.
So if you could tell us more about what is so unique about this company, because it really stands out from a lot of the companies I've come across in this sector.
Yep.
You're looking for some really big systems, and not just low grades gold either. So
yeah, definitely. No, thanks for highlighting that. We are taking a big swing with the big system belt scale thesis. And really the thesis is something that we identified in the academic literature, and it's a tectonic reconstruction model. And what that means is basically when all the gold came into the Abitibi gold belts, and for those who don't know what the Abitibi gold belts are, it's the most prolific orogenic gold system on Earth. It's produced over 250 million ounces of gold. And when all the gold came into that system, into those rocks, that was 2.6 to 2.7 billion years ago. And then about 500 million years later, at 2.1 billion, you had your major plate tectonics rift that southern part of the Abitibi off and move it to where it currently resides, which is in present day Wyoming. So it was really under that thesis that we said, wow, there could be tremendous overlooked potential for high-grade orogenic gold systems. And the reason we like those is because they typically live through the mining cycles because they're high-grade and they're very large, right? You look at Timmins, it's produced over 70 million ounces. The Cadillac Larder Lake Break, it's produced over 140 million ounces. These are big, major systems. So when we made this connection in the literature and started putting boots on the ground to test it, we were just amazed at how much overlooked orogenic gold opportunities there were in Wyoming. And since we've really started to define a number of high-grade systems.
So you have this big potential for these various deposits. What are you looking for? What are the first targets? How do you break this down? Because you do have a lot of different potentials to go after.
Yeah, definitely. It comes down to following the scientific criteria for what does it take to create a mega gold deposit in an orogenic system. So that's the criteria we're applying as we explore, and then applying a systematic approach to exploration, right? Our background is in doing that for some of the biggest mining companies on Earth. And what you learn is that you need to take advantage of these slow markets. That's your opportunity to boost your portfolio up the value curve. And that's exactly what we've done. And so now, yes, we have a very large portfolio. We've generated 17 high-grade district scale targets now. We've put some initial geology drill programs into some of those. We've gotten very strong proof of concept. We've intersected a lot of shear hosted gold mineralization. And now we've got to a point, as we look to a turn in the markets, where we have enough data and information to rate and rank these 17 high-grade targets. And as we look to move into 2025, we're going to be focusing our energy and our dollars into a much more aggressive drilling campaign at what we see as our top 1 or 2 targets out of that pool for now, with that pipeline still available for future opportunities.
So this is a concept and something that you've been working on for many years to get to this point.
Yes.
So next year is the year where you start to get more aggressive with the actual drilling. So let's talk about these top targets. Which ones are you focusing on?
Yeah, so we've got 2 major mining camps, South Pass Camp and Bradley Peak Camp. Within that, we have 5 district scale projects. At South Pass, we've had some really exciting results at our Golden Buffalo project in 2022, where we not only trenched about a 20-meter trench producing 600 ounces of coarse gold. I think I showed you some of that last time. We followed that up with a drill program. We intersected that high grade at depth, 83.8 grams per ton over a meter within a 28 gram per ton 3 meter shear zone. So that's really hungry for some follow-up drilling. Same thing at our Lewiston project in South Pass. We actually just finished up a small 1,000-meter phase 1 geology drill program there. Those results will be out in the next 3 to 4 weeks, I would imagine. So some exciting things to see what we see there, because that's a 10-kilometer trend of mineralization at surface. And then Bradley Peak. We really haven't done a whole lot of work at Bradley Peak until last year. And what that work really started to identify that it was completely overlooked. The geology maps, for example, were not at a high enough detail to really understand the system potential. As we've got out, put the boots on the ground, now we have 6 targets at Bradley Peak, and our apex target is really shining. And I think that's what we're going to be aggressively moving into drilling in 2025, just because of the sheer size, scale, and grade consistency at surface that we're seeing there.
So this is at surface. You're not drilling too far.
No, yeah, this is at surface. And to give you perspective, we've mapped this major shear zone out for over 2.5 kilometers now. We've got intermittent mineralization along that where we have rock exposed at surface. And these are out of outcrops. This isn't just sampling old mine dumps. And we're starting to see actually like a block of fertility potential, because we've got a zone at the upper apex of high grade samples, 600 meters along strike and 300 meters of vertical difference. We've got another zone of super high grade, and scattered throughout that, we're also getting mineralization along those structures and in these veins. So we're really starting to see a 3-dimensional opportunity there. And that's, again, not always the case when you're going into these orogenic systems where you only have maybe 2-dimensional vectors. So we're pretty excited. It gives us a lot more information to focus those drilling holes in the 2025 program.
So if you are correct in this approach, that you do have a break off from the Abitibi province down here in Wyoming, you guys control a huge portion of the property.
Yeah.
This gives you potentially an early ownership in a major gold discovery system. So
exactly.
let's talk about more, I guess, about what is the valuation of the company right now?
So we're at about $20 million valuation. It's a great opportunity to get positioned and start accumulating relevant gold, in my opinion. That's why, myself and co-founder Brian, we're the biggest shareholders. We continue to buy on the open market in every round. And ultimately, I think the key to understand is high grade, large scale, and a pipeline of these opportunities behind us is really setting us up for tremendous amount of success opportunities as we look to a turn in the markets. And so when we take that step back and kind of think about, do we have it all? I'm a geologist background. You never feel like you have it all,
Right.
But we've done a good job of taking advantage of our first mover component, and we've assembled basically some of the best projects on Main Street of this major Archean belt with a connection to the Abitibi. And almost all of the exposed Archean greenstone rocks are within our property portfolio. So,
and you were able to do this, as you said earlier, when the markets were not interested, when the sector has just been absolutely depressed. So
exactly.
Made it easier and obviously probably a lot cheaper to assemble this.
100% and relatively unencumbered property portfolio, because we were able to just go out and acquire this ground. We didn't have to consolidate a million different owners like you often deal with in Nevada, where you've got onerous royalties and things like that. We do have some royalties on small percentages of our packages where we've done negotiations on private ground and things like that. But for the majority of our portfolio, it's relatively unencumbered. And that comes from the advantage of being able to get out and stake the ground and apply a new thesis like this.
How would you manage if you hit big and you start making some big results next year, big discoveries? How do you manage such a large portfolio? Would you look at potentially bringing in some?
Yeah, so I'd say it's never out of the question for us to consider that. But I think at the end of the day, one of the unique things about Relevant Gold is we have a deep human capital infrastructure that a lot of our peers just do not have and don't have access to. The first business we built being one of the top tier exploration consulting groups in North America, it gives us discounted market rates and access to some of the top experts. We've got depth of people from laborers to technical staff. And so we can really ramp up quickly across this portfolio. And again, I think that is very unique to Relevant Gold.
And manage your costs with that excellent insight.
Exactly.
Well, that is quite unique. You have an excellent story. We're really going to look forward to the coming drill seasons. And you're in this season in Wyoming. It's is it mostly year round?
You can definitely operate year round. I mean, one of the reasons we're not operating in the winter right now is because the cost of capital is so high and the cost of drilling in the winter goes up. So, when we look at a turn of the markets, we could certainly be churning through the winter. But for now, we've taken a seasonal approach, kind of April through November, December.
Okay.
Yep.
Looking forward to Rob. Thank you for your time. Look forward to catching up with you next year and get some drilling updates.
Yeah, thanks.